Madam President, as we all know in this country, in 2016, the Russian government waged a covert, multifaceted, criminal campaign to interfere in our elections. Now we know that it was intended to help then candidate Donald Trump win the presidency. We don't know the full impact of Russia's interference, but it's beyond debate that it happened. Russia, as we've now found out, used inflammatory propaganda, actually was fake news, attempting to suppress Democratic turnout and boost support for Donald Trump. They also stole communications belonging to the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign, which were then strategically released to maximize their impact, and they were released at times when they could counter negative news stories about Donald Trump. And then just last week, 12 Russian intelligence officers were charged with hacking campaign officials' emails and state election boards. And so in just over a year, in what may rank as the most productive special counsel investigation in our nation's history, 32 people and 3 companies have been charged or pled guilty as part of the Russian investigation. We likely won't know the full extent of Russia's interference until the special counsel's investigation is complete. But what is clear, and this is what should concern Republicans and Democrats alike, what is clear is that our democracy, our great country, was attacked by a foreign adversary. And 2 days ago, on an international stage, standing shoulder to shoulder with Vladimir Putin, our president sided with that attacker. Instead of forcefully condemning Russia's attack on our democracy, or condemning its role in annexing Crimea, or poisoning individuals with chemical weapons on the soil of one of our closest allies, or Russia's downing a passenger airline with nearly 300 innocent civilians on board, or undermining democracies around the world, our president offered only praise for the authoritarian President Putin. He then repeated his conspiracy theories about the FBI. He called the Russia investigation a witch hunt by the FBI. He denigrated our law enforcement institutions while standing beside the foe that they've worked so hard to protect all Americans, Republicans and Democrats alike, to protect us from them. In my 44 years as a senator, I've never seen anything like it. I can think of no Republican president, no Democratic president who would ever do this. Because I never thought it'd be possible in our country before President Trump took office. Now, yesterday, the president attempted to walk back his decision to side with Russia over our own intelligence agencies. Attempted to do it because of the criticism he got from both Republicans and Democrats. But, as many of my colleagues told me would happen, he immediately walked back his walk back. President Trump walked back his walk back. He reiterated that the interference could be other people also. There's a lot of people out there. And this morning on Twitter, where apparently he does his deepest thinking, he claimed that people at the higher ends of intelligence loved his press conference in Helsinki. I do not think anyone here doubts that the president meant what he said and said what he meant in Helsinki. But after a 2-hour private meeting in Helsinki, I don't think President Putin has any doubt either. Madam President, we have to know, Russia shares neither our values nor our interests. Russia is not our friend. Of course we want to see improved relations with Russia on Syria, on nuclear proliferation, on many critical issues. But for that to happen, Russia needs to respect our democracy and values. We must not slouch down to theirs. the United States is the leader of the free world. The free world is under threat, as it has often been. But these threats are not supposed to come from within. Just moments ago, when asked if Russia is still targeting the United States, the president inexplicably said no. That is not the truth. Russia is still targeting the United States. And this is despite his Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coats, confirming just last week that Russia is indeed still targeting our digital infrastructure and interfering in our democracy. Director Coats compared it to the warning signs that emerged prior to the 9/11 attacks. But the president denies that it is happening. I know Director Coats. I served with him when he was a Republican senator in this body. I know that he would not say this if it was not so. Notwithstanding the president saying Russia is not targeted, his own director of national intelligence says they are. And it says we can't trust this president's judgment. When it comes to Russia, remember, the president takes an oath to protect and defend our nation. When it comes to Russia, it appears he does not intend to abide by his oath to protect and defend our nation. And this Congress is going to be derelict in its duty if it takes no action. All of us have to speak with a single voice in this moment, Republicans and Democrats alike. We should all condemn the president's actions, which were as dangerous as they were shameful. And these condemnations are important, but words are not enough. Remember, Congress is a co-equal branch of government. Remember that the Senate is supposed to be the conscience of the nation. Let's act like it. The president obviously can't be trusted to keep his hands off of the Russia investigation. By denigrating it every opportunity, by dismissing its lead investigator last year, he's repeatedly failed the test. Well, Madam President, the Senate Judiciary Committee recently passed legislation, a strong bipartisan vote, Republicans and Democrats alike. We voted to protect the special counsel's investigation. That legislation is before the Senate. Let's enact it into law. Let's take what the Republicans and Democrats together said in the Judiciary Committee. We'll protect the special counsel's investigation. Let's vote on it. Let's vote up or down. Let's do it. Let's enact it into law. Now, it's often said the only thing President Putin responds to is strength. Let's show him that here in the Congress we stand united in opposition to his ongoing attempts to attack our democracy. And believe me, Madam President, they're ongoing right at this moment. Let's pass stronger sanctions targeting him and the oligarchs who enable him, who continue to help him because they become billionaires by doing it. And let's pass a resolution making it clear that if President Trump chooses to stand with President Putin, then he stands alone. The European Union is not our foe, and President Putin is not our friend. Our allies around the world, especially those that have stood with us since World War II, are looking at us at this moment. They're questioning whether the United States would be a reliable partner in the face of creeping authoritarianism, both at home and abroad. Let's show them where we stand. This is not about politics. It's not about Republicans or Democrats. This is about who we are as a country, what we stand for as Americans, whether we stand for democracy, whether we stand for freedom, including the freedom of the press, whether we stand for the rule of law, whether we stand for truth, whether we stand for America. As a Vermonter and as a United States Senator, I know where I stand, and it's time we stand together.